This deck of cards I just made is going to change my hobby. Recently, I watched a documentary on YouTube, and I think a lot of you may have seen it. It is called He Won't Stop Building a Map to an Imaginary Place. It's made by the channel People Make Games. I'll link it down below. And this is a documentary about an artist named Jerry Gretzinger. And Jerry has been building this world building project, this giant map, for so long. And when I watched the video, I immediately fell in love with the way Jerry was building his map, which is with a deck of cards. Basically, he had made all of these different cards full of prompts and ways to change the game and add additional rules, and they tell him what to add to his map, what to remove, what to change, and that just really inspired me to make my own version of that, because I think it would be really cool if every once in a while, when I didn't know what else to be working on, I just drew a card from this deck, and then the card sort of tells me which direction to go. And then maybe over time, the deck can evolve and change, and I can revisit past works. And something I thought could be really fun is whenever I draw one of these cards from the deck and I do like a video on a specific prompt, you guys can follow along at home and you can do your own artistic projects following that same prompt, or maybe your own prompts if you want to make your own deck. And then we can come together as a community and sort of compare what we've made. And I'll hold like contests for the members on Discord. I don't know, that just sounds like a really cool sort of hobby engine to me, something to drive this forward, introduce a little bit of randomization. Yeah, so I was just really stoked about this idea. So I got out all of my old magazines and I made 1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13, 21, 22, 23, 30, 31 cards. I may have gotten carried away a little bit. Here's one of the cards, so you can see kind of where we're going with this. And so now I want to invite you to come along on this journey with me. I'll show you how I made these cards, and I'll give you some tips on how you could make your own. And we'll make something non-digital with our own hands out of real materials, and it's gonna feel really good. Stuff like this is how we get the magic back into our lives in this very bleak and dystopian corporate world we're all living in right now. Because this didn't cost me a cent. So sit back, relax, as I make a deck of cards that is going to boss me around in the future. Lucky for me, I still had this old card deck laying around, which would be the perfect base for a project like this. I also had this giant stack of queer magazines my partner had been collecting, and these had such amazing images inside. Really inspiring stuff. As a sort of a step one, I just wanted to cover all of these cards in some sort of collage foundation. And so I just took images that spoke to me, that I thought looked interesting, and that maybe could serve well as backgrounds or sort of themes or motifs for cards. And I just covered the cards with these, just applying some white glue. I even used some stickers from artists in this community. And then I applied some white glue to the back of them as well to prevent them from warping. This really gave me some great ideas for future prompts that I wanted to put on these cards. And I think this is really where the process is already beginning, right? Because I'm letting the images that I find in these magazines sort of guide me and give me ideas and inspiration for what even the prompt should be. And that's just like a pre-step to the whole randomization prompting process that's gonna happen with these cards later on. Anyway, now that all of these cards have some backing on them, the next step will be to start decorating them. And so I just use like stickers and cutouts, and I'm gonna add some more elements to these cards to really do some real collage art. I also want to do some like cutout text as well and try to put these prompts on here. Now I really tried to let the artwork I had created before sort of guide me in which elements to add, which prompts to write on these cards. And I wanted every prompt to feel like something open-ended, something that could be interpreted in multiple ways, but also something that allows me to make some things that maybe I haven't made before, maybe approach the hobby in ways I wouldn't normally think to approach it. And so I tried to really have like a variety of different styles of prompts on here. So some cards will sort of explicitly tell you what sort of project to make, or maybe they'll tell you like the medium. Maybe the card will say to sculpt something or to paint something. And other cards will be more abstract. They'll just tell me to approach this project with a certain mindset. Maybe do a certain task that isn't normally associated with the hobby, and then I'll have to come up with ways to make that work for whatever project I'm working on at that moment. And I think it's those sort of restrictions and weird loop-de-loop ways of thinking that get you into that creative mindset and really make you sort of approach the hobby from a new point of view. And to create those prompts, I actually created this little sheet that I could then cut my own words out of. Because I was noticing that certain phrases I was kind of reusing a lot, or like they had multiple applications. And so I wanted to have an easy way of putting those on the cards without having to do them letter by letter every time. And really, this was like multiple disciplines in one. This is like a little bit of graphic design. It's a little bit of just obviously collage art. There's some typography that I'm doing with like the choices of the fonts I'm picking and the text I'm putting on here. Making these cards is so much fun, and I really want to implore you to try it out for yourself. Even if, like me, you haven't really done any collage art before, like just look at how much texture you're getting from combining these different mediums with each other, cutting stuff out, gluing it on there, having the glue like kind of be sticky in one place, and then something tears off and you kind of rub it the wrong way and it gets a little bit grimy. All of these micro textures that get added and all of these decisions you're making because you're working with sort of very unpredictable elements, I think they really are so conducive to making cards that really sort of energize you and have that free creative spirit that you want for something like this. Because ideally, when you pick up one of these cards from the deck, you want it to spark imagination immediately. You want to like have some sort of idea of, oh shit, yeah, this is awesome. I want to make something along these lines. And even if it's something super weird, like get weird with it, you know? But you could do it even less weird. If you're maybe not into like the abstract stuff, you could just write cards that say, paint a goblin, paint a skeleton, build an army, whatever you're into, right? Like if you're into like different Space Marine chapters, or even if you do like a different hobby, if you're crocheting or knitting, you could make cards for that. You could make these cards for the Lego sets you want to build next, or maybe even for stuff you want to buy next. There's no creative limit to the possibilities of what you could create cards for. Realistically, you could even have these cards for like all kinds of aspects in your life. If you want to go like super far, make it like a performance art piece, I suppose. I'm so interested to see how I'm actually going to use these in praxis, because you know, I'm talking some big game right now, but I'm curious to see if it's gonna be as cool and easy as I think it's gonna be right now, and how often I'll actually pick up these cards. But for now, I'm super excited, super energized, and I just wanna make cards and draw cards and see what I come up with. But more importantly, I want to see what you come up with. I want this whole thing to be a community project. And so I want you to come up with your own cards, your own prompts, and I want you to add them to this. So I'll have a download link where you can download my cards and the cards that other people have made for free. But if you want to contribute to this project and put your own cards into this mega deck, then you can become a member of the channel right now and join my Discord. And when you join the Discord, there's going to be a channel on there where you can submit your own cards, and then I'll add them to this growing pile of prompts and tasks and idea generators. And that way we can sort of become one giant hive mind and inspire each other and see other people working on our prompts and work on other people's prompts, and it becomes this giant loop of creative energy. And I want to see that. I think that was going to be so cool. So if you've been maybe a little bit inspired by this video and you want to make your own cards, I really implore you to give it a chance. You know, cut up some old magazines, print out some fancy graphics you've got on your hard drives, make something on your phone. You know, it doesn't have to be analog. You can make some digital stuff. Whatever you feel like making, make it, and please share it with us. And so here it is, my, for now, finished deck of 31 prompt cards that are going to shape my hobby journey whenever I feel like I don't know what to make. I tried to have each prompt be specific in one way and then vague in another to leave some room for interpretation. I think that's super important when you're doing stuff like this. You just want to kick off the creative ideas. You don't want to sort of pen yourself in too much from the get-go. And so all of these sort of steer me into a certain direction without telling me the exact destination or defining sort of what the result has to be. So you'll notice there's no sort of paint a certain amount of figures. Oftentimes I won't even actually say what the actual project is supposed to be. I'll just have like a vague theme or maybe an activity. So here's sculpting. I could sculpt whatever, right? But maybe the image sort of will inspire me a little bit. This just says all red. So that could be the paint scheme, but maybe I find other creative ways to interpret that. Dungeons and Dragons, it doesn't tell me if I need to write a module or paint a mini for a session. So that's sort of the way that I approached this. I wanted every card to have infinite possibilities, but just enough input to get me going in a certain direction and sort of get that hobby engine started. I think it's going to be so much fun making these videos where I draw a random card and then seeing, hopefully, what you guys come up with when you decide to do the same challenge that I did, and then comparing our results and having that little competition in the Discord server. I'm really looking forward to that and seeing what all of you make with these cards. And by the way, if you have your own maybe YouTube channel or Instagram page, why don't you take this idea and do this as well? Like, create cards for your hobby and have little community hangouts with your community and talk to your people and see what they made with your cards and with your prompts. I think this is such a cool activity that can bring people together, and we can use this to learn about each other's creative processes and how we approach these different tasks. So even if you don't want to follow along with my specific prompt cards, make your own. Use it for your own personal communities. One thing that I just want to talk about with these cards that I made is how much fun it was for me to experiment with all of these micro textures. I love adding texture to whatever sort of graphic design projects I'm working on, and getting to do this with real life materials instead of my usual digital approach was so freeing and so fun. And I've got some shots here coming up where I just took the time to really show you those textures. When I scanned these cards, I think the textures came out really nicely because the scan makes all the cards black and white and sort of flattens them down a bit, but that just adds to it. Oh man, I'm so happy with this. I haven't actually really done any collage art before, and so these might not be like the most skilled collages or the craziest artistic works, but I think they're really impactful and I had fun making them, and I think they're open to being changed and worked on later down the line. I'm pretty happy with the prompts and how they're worded in a way where they're sort of up for interpretation a little bit, and so every time you get the same prompt, you can sort of do it in a different way. And also when two people do the same prompt, they'll come up with very different solutions to that prompt. And that's really what I'm interested in. I want this one seed of inspiration to really sprout into as many blooming possibilities of creative expression as possible. These are some of my favorite cards from this. I just really like how these came out with like the artistic direction of them. Some of these cards I'm not like 100% happy with, but I think that's cool. That's okay, right? There's room to improve. There's room to change. Maybe I delete some of the cards later on once I've done them. Maybe I rework them a little bit. It's all fair game. And that's where an organic sort of project like this really is a lot of fun, because you can make it your own and you can do whatever you want to. There's no rules. You make the rules. So for your own card deck, if you want to make your own cards, you know, you can make 5, you can make 50, you could make 5,000 cards, and you can make it as elaborate or as simple as you want. You could just like have a sheet that you print out with just words on it that you just roll a D100 for, right? You could make it as simple as that. But I think with these cards, the fun is really in that tactile, physical feeling of them. And also having put some creative energy into each card already gives me a little bit of an emotional connection to them. And I think that will, bring out something different when I work on these cards. I've got a bunch of other videos planned, and I need to do some pre-production because I'm going on a big trip and I need to prepare for that, and I won't be able to upload videos while I'm gone. But soon I want to do the first video where I draw a random card from this deck and then make anything miniature or hobby related inspired by that prompt, and then I want to open up the challenge to all of you. So once I draw the prompt, you're invited to follow along and create your own interpretation of that prompt. If you're a member of the channel, I'm making a new channel on the Discord server where you can upload what you made with the prompt, and then after like, I don't know, like 2 weeks or something, I'll pick a winner and you'll win something. Maybe we'll do that like once a month, I don't know, like a monthly challenge where you can win something if you're a member. I feel like that's a cool extra thing to do to kind of give something back to the people who support this channel and get like a little bit more of a community involvement going, right? But everyone else who's not a member, feel free to also participate. I'll be like resharing your stuff in my stories on Instagram. Maybe we do like a little recap here on YouTube. I don't know yet. I'll have to think it through. Lots of possibilities, lots of options of how I could go about this. All I know for now is that I want this to be a community project, and I want to see what you come up with. with, and I want to spark a wave of creativity with this. Something else, because this is about community, I know that some other creators, mainly Trent from Miscast and I think Trent from Conjured Craft, they've also been working on their own cards. Independently from me, I think we all just got like really inspired by this documentary that got swept into our feeds by the algorithm. I could see us scanning our cards and making them available for you to print and download with a way where maybe we combine our decks, and so you can have an even bigger expanded deck with multiple people's creative input. Hey, it's me from the future. I just scanned all of the cards that I made and I talked to Trent, and he's going to add some cards that he made a while back that are sort of similar to what I just did. And we're going to combine them into one big deck. And hopefully we're going to do this in a way where we can add other new cards into this as well. So I'll have a place in my Discord server for you to submit your own cards, and maybe we can make a community deck. So if you want to get started with this and maybe you don't have the time or the energy or the resources to make your own cards, check the description of this video. There's a link down there where you can download our cards as a printable PDF, and so you can just print those out and cut them out and make your own deck with the cards Trent and I made. All right, super stoked about this. I think that's really cool. Trent made, thank you for contributing to this and helping me make this a real community effort. All right, I hope you have a great day, and I wish you a lot of fun crafting your own decks, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.